Good day, distinguished chairs, respected scholars, and dear colleagues. First of all, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to the International Conference on Contemporary Issues 2026 for providing this valuable academic platform. It is a great honor for me to present my research here today. My name is Yujuan. I'm a PhD candidate from Language Academy at University Technology Malaysia. The corresponding authors are Dr. Shanti and Dr. Masha. Today, I'll present my research entitled Constructing an Intercultural Competence Scale for Chinese English Majors, focusing on its background, problem statement, research questions, literature review, methodology, key findings, and implications. With the rapid acceleration of globalization, intercultural communication has become an unavoidable reality in education, the workplace, and everyday life. English, as a dominant international language, plays a crucial role in facilitating communication across cultures. In the Chinese higher education context, English majors occupy a unique position. They are not only language learners, but also potential culture mediators who are expected to represent Chinese culture and engage with the world effectively. As a result, cultivating and assessing their intercultural competence, or IC, has become an increasingly important educational goal. While English majors often receive systematic training in language skills, their intercultural competence does not always develop at the same pace. This mismatch raises questions about how IC is conceptualized, assessed, and cultivated, especially within the Chinese educational context. Although intercultural competence has been widely studied for decades, several challenges remain. First, most existing models and assessment tools were developed in Western contexts. While these frameworks are theoretically valuable, they may not fully reflect the learning experiences, cultural identities, and educational realities of Chinese English majors. Second, in China, research on intercultural competence has focused more on conceptual discussions and teaching models than on empirical validated assessment instruments, particularly those tailored to specific students' groups. Third, English majors differ from non-English majors in terms of curriculum structure, professional expectations, and exposure to intercultural content. However, few assessment tools are specifically designed for this group. These gaps suggest a clear need for a context-sensitive, empirically validated intercultural competence scale that reflects both international theory and local educational practice. To address these gaps, the present study focuses on two research questions. What factors contribute to intercultural competence among Chinese college English majors? And how do these factors influence the intercultural competence of Chinese college English majors? The conceptualization of intercultural competence has evolved over several decades. Although definitions vary, most scholars agree that IC is a multidimensional construct. In Western research, Barham conceptualizes intercultural competence as the ability to mediate between languages and cultures, emphasizing attitudes, knowledge, skills, and critical cultural awareness. Fatney highlights knowledge, attitudes, skills, and awareness as core components applicable to both one's own culture and other cultures. Deardorff further integrates these elements into a developmental process model, placing attitudes at the foundation of intercultural competence. Asian scholars have enriched these perspectives by incorporating local educational traditions. For example, one distinguishes intercultural communicative competence from general communicative competence, emphasizing tolerance and flexibility. Yang and Zhuang view communicative practice as the ultimate goal of intercultural competence development, while Dai introduces ethical and moral consideration into IC frameworks. Despite their differences, these studies converge on the importance of attitudes, knowledge, and behavioral competence as core dimensions of intercultural competence. In terms of assessment, intercultural competence is commonly measured through indirect, direct, or combined approaches. Questionnaire-based self-report scales remain the most widely used due to their efficiency and suitability for large samples. However, many existing instruments lack conceptual specificity for English majors in China. Among Chinese-developed tools, Wu's Intercultural Communicative Competence Assessment Scale, that is ICCAS, is one of the most influential. In addition, Zhang and Wu's framework of reference for intercultural competence teaching provides systematic pedagogical guidance within Chinese foreign language education. These two frameworks jointly informed the design of the present study. This study adopted a quantitative research design with a focus on scale development and validation. It was conducted at Hengshui University, involving first to third year English majors. A two-stage approach was employed. In the first stage, data from 95 students were used for exploratory factor analysis to identify the underlying factor structure. In the second stage, confirmatory factor analysis was conducted with a separate sample of 193 students to validate the model. This sequential design allowed for both exploration and verification, strengthening the reliability of the results. The initial scale was developed by adapting Wu's ICCAS and incorporating Zhang and Wu's framework for intercultural competence teaching with reference to Deardorff's process model. Based on the literature review and teaching practice, 36 items were generated across the dimensions: attitudes, cultural knowledge, and behavioral competence. Cultural knowledge included both foreign and Chinese cultural knowledge, reflecting the dual cultural role of English majors. All items were measured using a 5-point Likert scale. Data were analyzed using SPARS 26 and AMOS 28. Reliability and suitability tests indicated that the data were appropriate for factor analysis. Exploratory factor analysis was then conducted using principal component analysis with Varimax rotation, and poorly performing items were removed. Finally, confirmatory factor analysis was applied, and multiple fit indices confirmed satisfactory model fit and constructor validity. Exploratory factor analysis revealed a 5-factor constructor, explaining approximately 72.088% of the total variance. After removing items with low loadings and cross loadings, the final scale consisted of 90 items. The 5 factors identified were attitude, foreign cultural knowledge, Chinese cultural knowledge, linguistic competence, and communicative competence. Among these, attitudes emerged as the most influential factor, implying the largest proportion of variance. Students generally demonstrated openness, respect, empathy, and positive orientations toward cultural diversity. In terms of cultural knowledge, students showed stronger competence in Chinese culture than in foreign cultures. Knowledge of foreign customs, etiquette, and taboos remained relatively moderate, indicating a need for deeper cultural instruction. Linguistic and communicative competence showed above-average performance, but scores suggested room for improvement, particularly in handling intercultural misunderstandings and conflicts. Confirmatory factor analysis further validated the 5-factor model with good model fit indexes and satisfactory reliability. The overall Cronbach's alpha was 0.836, indicating good internal consistency. This study offers both theoretical and practical contributions. Theoretically, it provides empirical support for the multidimensional nature of intercultural competence, confirming the central role of attitudes, cultural knowledge, and skills. It also enriches intercultural competence research by developing a context-sensitive assessment scale specifically for Chinese English majors. Practically, the findings suggest that intercultural competence cultivation should prioritize attitudinal development alongside balanced instruction in Chinese and foreign cultures. Language and communication skills should be strengthened through practical, scenario-based activities and intercultural engagement. For students, the ICCEM can serve as a self-assessment tool, helping them identify strengths and weaknesses and formulate personalized development plans. To conclude, this study develops a reliable and valid assessment tool and provides actionable insights for teaching and learning, contributing to the ongoing effort to enhance intercultural competence among English majors in higher education. Thank you very much for your attention.